Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning in, checking out this video. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We have monster Indiana Fever news, folks. Monster Indiana Fever news. And I cannot stress that enough for a lot of the fan base. They've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this type of news. Waiting and waiting for this type of news. We have the end of the Nalyssa Smith era in Indiana. Yes, that's right. Huge trade. So the key part for the Indiana Fever, well, a couple of things I'm sure you'll all be interested to know. Satu Sabali is going to Phoenix. Okay. Now for Indiana, the big news is Nalyssa Smith is gone. Coming into Indiana, Sophie Cunningham. Now they also exchange picks, which means Indiana drop from 8. They get Dallas's 19 pick. Dallas moves up to 8. So Dallas has the number 1 pick and the number 8 pick. That is the one bit of this trade that makes me go, I really wish they hadn't have done that. They may, but look, for all I know, Indiana, they've been, hitting the phones all off season, trying to see what they can get for Nalyssa Smith. I'm sure this may have been the best they could do. It may have been a deal breaker for Dallas. Hey, if you don't exchange picks, we're not making this trade. Indiana might not have anything else that they could fall back to. So have to understand that at times too. It's easy to just say, "Oh, I don't like that. Don't do that." Just make it straight up Smith Cunningham. But I do understand if they put in a lot of effort trying to unload Smith for the maximum talent they can get when they really don't have a ton of leverage thanks to the way Nalyssa Smith acted and played last year. They could have done a lot worse than getting Sophie Cunningham from Dallas. And on top of that, to be fair, also with Indiana, we keep hearing they're looking a lot overseas. Maybe they were looking overseas at players they could sign, but also in the draft, like Asia Sivka. I'm really high on her as a player. Maybe it was made known she's not coming to the WNBA, that if she were to be drafted, she would not sign and play in the WNBA. Indiana looked at all that. They looked at who's coming out in college and said, you know what? If this is what it means for us to unload Nalyssa Smith and bring in Sophie Cunningham, then we're okay with that. Now, Sophie, what's really interesting to me, how this is going to play out, is what the Fever have on the roster right now. Because Sophie Cunningham, to me, is a very similar player to Lexi Hall. And I don't say that, I'm not saying that as a negative, just obviously they'll be on the same team now. And I'm not saying that because neither one of them tans very well. They just are very similar. I don't even know why I'm trying to load this. I don't need this page. But oh, here we go. But if we do want to take a look at it, type of player Sophie is, she shoots the three well, 36% career 3-point shooter, and she shoots a lot of them. Great shooter in two, 50, almost 60% last year, 58.3% from two. Very high EFG, 57%. That's one of the better numbers in the league. She's been giving Phoenix 25 to 30 minutes a game this past few seasons. So, and what I really like, and this is a short clip, but I'm just gonna let this run as I talk. You can see some of the things, but right away here you'll see corner three. Does this look familiar? Even a very similar stroke, but she can shoot the corner three. There's good movement, good finishing. Sophie Cunningham, and this is why I say similar, because great quick release. You hear me say these things about Lexi Hull. She is long, even though she's only 6'1", she's a long 6'1", right? She's a long 6'1". She's not a fire hydrant. She's not, she's got long reach with her arms. She moves really well. She can absolutely run the court in a high-paced tempo. You can see her right there. Drive straight to the basket from out at the top of the key and finish. She's got a mid-range game, which you see there as well. So she does so many things well. Not only does she do things well that we like, she does all these things that fit in really well with the type of game that the Fever are going to play. So this offers a lot of flexibility. She can play the two. She is a shooting guard. And let's face it, the Fever don't have a shooting guard outside of Kelsey Mitchell. Now, again, what I will say in this, one of the great things I think about the Fever and this, look how quick that release was. One of the great things I'll say about the Fever roster is a lot of the flexibility. right? Dantas is a forward, but you can put her in the game for AB and play the five. And then she'll also stretch that court. We'll get mismatches the other way. The Fever are not a tall, big team, but I think for me, if I'm putting a team together in the WNBA, I like the way they're doing it. I prefer the attributes they're going for. AB is a center. She may be a little undersized height wise, but she such good footwork in there. She moves really well. I think she needs to work on her finish rate a little bit underneath, but her footwork in the post is fantastic. She's getting better at shooting the three to stretch as well. But as I was saying, Dantas can play the four. She can play the five. Obviously, Natasha Howard can play the four. My guess is the way I see her run at times, get to the basket, her movement, she could also play the three. Lexi Hull can play the three, but guess what? Lexi Hull can play the two if need be. Sophie Cunningham, we know, can play the two. When I look at her and I see the way she plays, she can play the three like Lexi Hull. Grace Berger can play the one or two. That's why I've said if you needed minutes at the two to give Kelsey Mitchell a rest or she's in foul trouble, Grace Berger can absolutely play on the court with Caitlin Clark. I believe Katie Lou Samuelson is going to be better this year. Grace Berger is going to be a significant contributor this year. So look, we've got Sophie Cunningham and Natasha Howard coming to this team. We're gonna say that we added Kelsey Mitchell, right? Because she could have done the Sabali thing and say, "Hey, I want to go elsewhere." There's no guarantee of re-signing a free agent, even one that you core. So we just in the last few days, the Fever have announced Kelsey Mitchell playing. Sophie Cunningham is here. Natasha Howard is here. And yeah, the only thing I will say the drawback to that is I wish they didn't have to swap draft picks, but that's kind of minor when you look at the fact that not only did they get Sophie Cunningham for Nalyssa Smith, just the fact that they got rid of Nalyssa Smith is a huge, huge positive for the Indiana Fever because we don't have to deal with the drama. We don't have to deal with wondering what side Nalyssa Smith is on. We all know that Sophie Cunningham was one of the few players in the WNBA this year who had high praise for Caitlin Clark. She was not afraid to say, yeah, man, Caitlin Clark can ball. I love watching her play. She's fun. I enjoy it. She's a great player. Nothing but praise. This is going to be a fun team to watch this year. I really, really hope that we're all right about Stephanie White and she just lets him go because this is a team. By the way, Sophie can play defense too. That's the other thing. Did I mention that already? I don't think I did, but I wanted to. She can play defense as well. Natasha Howard can play defense. People are talking about bringing in some defense. They've brought in some defense while also helping the offense, which is fantastic. Because guess what? I think they'll give up a lot of points, but I think they'll give up a lot of points because they're going to score a lot because they're going to run. They're going to play up tempo. This is a team that can drop 100 every night. And so what if they give up 90? They're going to because they're going to give up more possessions because their possessions are going to be shorter, right? They're going to be for those of you that remember the Steve Nash era, the Steve Nash era led Phoenix Phoenix Suns, right? Where it was the whole philosophy behind their offense was shoot in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. That to me should be the Indiana Fever because guess what? They also have the skill players that they can slow it down and play half court with a coach, right? That's going to make a big difference as well. Their half court game, I think, will be surprised by how they do play in the half court, so that's going to be fun as well. But look, yeah, overall, like I said, it would be cool to me if they didn't have to make the pick switch because and really that's partly personal because I would love to see Asia Sipka come over to the WNBA and play with Caitlin Clark. I really would. But again, I mentioned all the reasons already that why that could be something that they're like, now we need to do this because otherwise we're stuck with Nalyssa Smith and we don't think we're going to get something at 8 that makes it worthwhile also having Nalyssa Smith on this team and returning next year. So overall, 3 monster days for the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard, without giving anything up. Then they subtract Nalyssa Smith but also get Sophie Cunningham. This is going to be a fun team to watch. It's going to be a fun team, not just for their talent on the court, but because of what I think they're going to be in terms of playing with each other. And Any of you have been sports fans for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. There are just certain teams throughout your lifetime rooting for a franchise, certain teams, certain groups of players get together that just connect, they click with each other, with their fan base, and it's just a lot of fun. We've had that in Philly recently with the Eagles and the Phillies. We do not have it and haven't had it in a long time with the Sixers, but we had it recently with the Phillies and Eagles, and it is just a lot of fun to see teams that really enjoy playing together and that also appreciate their fan base. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I got to get back to Unrivaled, see how Lexi Hull is doing, and maybe I'll let you know about that if it's at all exciting. But hit me up in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and I will talk to you later.